At 4 feet 9 inches tall, Emma Rodriguez had been told no more times than she could count. But standing at the edge of the basketball court, clutching her worn sneakers, she was about to prove that the biggest victories come in the smallest packages. The gymnasium fell silent as Emma walked onto the court. Whispers rippled through the crowd like waves. The opposing team's center, towering at 6 feet 2 inches, looked down at her with barely concealed amusement. But Emma's coach, Mrs. Patterson, had seen that fire in her eyes before. "It's not the size of the dog in the fight," Mrs. Patterson had told her just minutes earlier, "it's the size of the fight in the dog." Emma had heard every joke, every comment, every well-meaning suggestion that she try something more suitable for her height. Volleyball, they said. Or maybe track. Anything but basketball, the sport that had captured her heart when she was 7 years old, watching her older brother practice in their driveway. "You're too small," the middle school coach had said. "You'll never make the team," her classmates had laughed. "Be realistic," even her own father had whispered, though his heart broke saying it. But Emma had a secret weapon that no one could see from the outside. She had what her grandmother called corazón grande, a big heart. And in that heart lived a dream so massive it couldn't be contained by her small frame. Every morning at 5 a.m., while her neighborhood slept, Emma would slip out of her house and head to the community center. The old custodian, Mr. Henderson, had given her a key after watching her practice shots against the building's brick wall for months. "Dedication is the bridge between dreams and reality," Mr. Henderson had said, handing her the key with a knowing smile. "You've got more dedication in your pinky finger than most people have in their whole body." The early morning hours became Emma's sanctuary. She ran suicides until her lungs burned, practiced free throws until her arms ached, and studied game footage until her eyes strained. She couldn't grow taller, but she could grow stronger, faster, smarter. "Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard," she'd repeat to herself, Kevin Durant's words echoing in the empty gym as she sank shot after shot. Her breakthrough came during a pickup game at the local park. Emma had been playing with a group of older kids when college scout Maria Santos happened to walk by. What she saw defied explanation: a tiny girl weaving through defenders like water through rocks, her basketball IQ off the charts, her heart unmistakable. "Height is just a number," Maria had said, approaching Emma after the game. "Heart is everything." The invitation to try out for the state championship team arrived on a Tuesday. Emma's hands shook as she read the letter, her mother crying tears of joy behind her. But the real test was still ahead. The day of tryouts, Emma arrived to find herself surrounded by girls who seemed to block out the sun. The head coach, Frank Morrison, barely glanced at her application before shaking his head. "This is a waste of time," he muttered to his assistant. But Emma didn't hear him. She was too busy remembering her grandmother's words, "Mija, the mountains may be tall, but they never learn to move. You were born to dance around them." When the scrimmage began, something magical happened. Emma's size became her superpower. She stole passes that seemed impossible to reach, squeezed through defensive gaps that didn't exist for anyone else, and orchestrated plays with a vision that left everyone stunned. "She's like a basketball wizard," one of the taller girls whispered to her teammate. "Magic Johnson was right," Coach Morrison said, watching Emma sink another three-pointer. "There's nothing ordinary about playing extraordinary basketball." By the end of tryouts, Emma had not only made the team, she had earned the starting point guard position. The girl who had been told she was too small to play had become the heartbeat of a championship contending team. The night before the state championship game, Emma's father knocked on her bedroom door. His eyes were red, not from sadness but from pride. "I'm sorry I ever doubted you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You taught me that dreams don't have height requirements." Standing now at center court, facing the biggest game of her life, Emma felt the weight of every "no" she'd ever received. But she also felt the power of every "yes" she'd given herself. "The only disability in life is a bad attitude," she whispered, Scott Hamilton's words giving her strength as the referee prepared for the opening tip. The ball went up, and Emma Rodriguez, all 4 feet 9 inches of her, jumped higher than she'd ever jumped before. Not in height, but in spirit, in determination, in the unshakable belief that she belonged exactly where she was. The crowd erupted as Emma's team won the tip, and she dribbled down the court with the confidence of a giant. Sometimes the biggest victories come in the smallest packages, and tonight, Emma was ready to prove that size is just a number, but heart is everything.